Alright, Katamu Nyatal here, and I'm going to be playing a game called Everlasting Summer for probably an hour, maybe less, depending how well or terribly it goes. Um, just to let you know, I have changed it in my settings to mark my content for or to be as inappropriate for younger audiences purely for this game. I'll change it back afterwards because frankly I'm not sure what the content of this game is going to be like. It is a dating sim slash visual novel that is currently, or last I checked, free on Steam. Um, Basically, I'm just curious about what this is, so I want to play it, and maybe some people will watch me play it. We'll see. So I'm gonna start it up here. I haven't switched to the game yet because I want to start it on stream because I'm hoping that it shows me the disclaimer again for you guys to see. Soviet games, so obviously we're off to a good start. Uh, is this what it was? I think this is it. This game is a work of fiction and its author's imagination. It does not aim to offend, insult, or discriminate anyone on the... Seriously disconnected as I'm reading this. I'm going to have to wait for the stream to catch up. Just so I can be sure. Be sure everything's kosher. I don't like that loading swirly that I'm seeing right now. Okay, loading video, that's better. Okay, perfect. This game is a work of fiction and its author's imagination. It does not aim to offend, insult, or discriminate anyone on the religious, social, economical, species, or any other basis. Any violation of the player's aesthetic sensitivity, active citizenship, or any other spiritual impulse lies on their conscience. Any resemblance of the characters to your real or imaginary friends, neighbors, I'm pretty sure that word is supposed to be colleagues, but it says colleges, tulpas, I have no idea what a tulpa is entirely coincidental. All the heroines are 18 years old and they've confirmed their consent on participating in this game in written form. An excerpt from the screenwriter's medical history can be provided on demand. The game doesn't contain any propaganda of voluntary or not ending one's life. Not a single mascot, animal, or human was hurt during the game's creation. Happy reading. See, this is what got me really curious about this. Mainly I downloaded the game because it was free, so it's like, it's free, I'll check it out, I'll see what it's about. But this is what got me really interested and made me kind of want to stream it. Because I feel like I should try and share it with people. Yeah. Everybody, when you see this, just take a moment and absorb this. Oh, I can't even speak. Absorb the content of this disclaimer, because that is something else. That is something else. Oh, and a Russian title because Soviet games, right? And I also just want to point out there are like no graphical options whatsoever. Windowed mode, full screen mode, that's it. That's the only kind of graphical options you have here. So yeah, and you can probably mod the crap out of this game if you're into that sort of thing. Dear Pioneer, You are on the verge of wondrous discoveries. The doors of the most wonderful place in the world, our favorite campaign, Sylvianok, have opened before you. You'll remember this session for the rest of your life. Welcome. And since I'm pretty sure I'm not gonna have to use the keyboard to control any of this game, just the mouse to click through dialogue. I'm keeping my hand very close to my hotkey for my switching game screen, so if anything inappropriate, or overly inappropriate, I guess, comes up, I can censor it very quickly. So here we go. I have no idea what's about to happen. This may be glorious, this may be terrifying. I was having that dream once again. That dream. Same thing every night. But it's all forgotten in the morning, as usual. Maybe it's for the best. Only a glimpse of memory will remain of gates, half opened, as if inviting me somewhere, with two frozen stone pioneers standing close. And also that strange girl who keeps asking me. Please be voiced. It's not. Again with the disconnection. Whatever. It's all recording, so. Will you come with me? That was a terrible girl's voice. Come? Oh boy. But where? And why? And where am I, anyway? Of course, if it all would have happened in real life, I would have certainly been scared. This much is sure. But this is just a dream. The same one I see every night. There must be a reason. You don't have to know where or why to realize something is really happening. Something desperate for my attention. Since everything that surrounds me here is real. And as real as things in my own flat, I could open the gates, hear the hinges creak, brush the crumbling rust with my hand, inhale the fresh cool air and shiver from the cold. I could, but to do that, I would need to pick myself up, make a step, move my hands. But this is a dream. I understand that, but what of it? What would change my understanding? Because here it's just like on the other side of the cracking screen of an old TV, which struggles to the fight against static noise and strives to show its audience everything without missing a single detail. So that explains the state of the screen at the moment. But the picture is getting blurry. I must be waking up soon. Ellipses. Maybe I should ask her something. The girl. What's her name? About the stars, for instance? Why the stars, though? I'd rather ask about the gates. Yes, the gates! She would be so surprised. Or better, why dot over... or better, why dot over I was called a tittle, but dot over J called a superscript dot. Nice letters. As if they don't exist anymore. Still, what do letters, gates, and stars have to do with this place? Because of every night I'm having this dream, which will be forgotten soon anyway. I've got to look for answers here and now. And there, if you look carefully, you can see the Magellanic Clouds. As if I ended up in the southern hemisphere. In a dream, there are small things that catch the most of your attention. Unnatural color of grass, impossible curves of straight lines, or your own distorted reflection. While the real danger, which could put an end to everything right here and now, seems a trifle. It's natural, since here you cannot die. I know it for sure. I've done it hundreds of times. But if you cannot die, is there a point in living? I should ask the girl. She's a local. She should know. Yes, exactly. I should ask her about the owl, for example. One strange bird it is, though it doesn't matter. Will you come with me? And every time I have to answer, it's the only way. Otherwise the dream will never end, and I will never wake up. Well, I think the choice is obvious. Oh, actually no, sorry. I'm misinterpreting the question. She's going somewhere and she wants me to come with her. Or I can stay here? Screw it, let's go. Yes, I'll come with you. Every time, it's so hard to decide on the answer. Where am I? What am I doing here? Who is she? And why does so much in my life depend on this answer? Or maybe it doesn't. It's just a dream, after all. Just a dream. What the hell is this game? A keyboard, okay. Oh god, what are you looking at? What are you doing on your computer, dude? Is he on Craigslist? The computer screen stared at me as if it was alive. Blink. Sometimes it really did seem to me that it was conscious of itself, had its own thoughts and wishes, ambitions, that it had feelings, could love and suffer. As if in our relationship, the screen wasn't an instrument, it was me, lifeless piece of plastic and text to light. There is some truth in that, probably because the computer provides 90% of my communication with the outside world. Anonymous image boards, some chats from time to time, rarely ICQ or Jabber, and forums even more rarely. This is about life on the internet. People on the other end of the internet cable simply do not exist. That's a bit harsh. People exist out there in the world. They're maybe just a little more ethereal than what we're used to, face to face. They are all simply creations of its sick imagination, an error in the source code, or a kernel bug, which started living a life of its own. I don't think that of you people out there in the internet. Not all of you, anyway. Like you people who come to my stream and say nice things. I love you guys. You're real people. You're not creations of a sick imagination of the internet. I might be a creation of the sick imagination of the internet. God, I can't even get sentences out properly. This is where I note it's 6 a.m. right now. I'm just gonna put that out there. What is with the blurry to clear images? Why? Why all the time? If one looked at my existence from the side, such thoughts would not seem so mad, and a psychologist would surely give me a bunch of sophisticated diagnoses, and maybe write me a doctor's referral to an asylum. the hell am I playing right now? That's what I should have titled the stream. Just like I did the first time I played Cook Serve Delicious. That's what I should have put on. A small apartment with no trace of repair or semblance of order in it, and always the same view out of the window on the grey megalopolis running somewhere day and night. Such are the conditions of my life. Well, of course, it didn't all start like this. I was born, went to school, and finished it like all the others. I was accepted at the university, where I spent a year and a half trailing and struggling. I drifted through several jobs. Sometimes it was working out quite well. Sometimes I was even getting decent money for it. But it all felt like it was not mine, as if taken from another man's biography. I wasn't living a life to its fullest. It was looping on in monotonous circles, as in the Groundhog Day movie. It's just a strange sentence. Clearly the writer, I don't think English was necessarily his first language. It's just I had no choice in how to spend my day, and every day repeated itself, a same vicious spiral of emptiness, misery, and despair. For the last few years, I just sat in front of the screen all day. Sometimes there were menial jobs, sometimes my parents helped me. All in all, I was able to provide for myself. No wonder, really, since my needs are quite minor. I hardly leave my home, and my communication with other people almost entirely consists of online correspondence with the anonymous, who have no real name, no gender, no age. So, in brief, quite a typical life of a quite a typical antisocial person of this time. Kind of Donnie Darko on a minor scale, without doomsday-related visions. Maybe some highly respected director will make a movie about me, and it will become a classic of modern drama cinema. Or I will make one myself. However, what's the point of fooling myself? I tried many times, but couldn't even come up with a simple script. I have also tried learning many other things. Not gifted enough to draw. Programming, got bored. Foreign languages, takes too much time. The only thing I loved doing was reading. But still, I would never have called myself a scholar. Perhaps I was an ace in watching anime and grandmaster of lame internet jokes. If I were to get paid for it, I probably would be a happier person, and a richer person too. But I doubt it would fill the hole inside me. Today was another typical day of a typical loser's typical life. And today is the day when I have to go to my university reunion. Frankly speaking, I really did not want to. And what is the point? Time I spent with them was so short. However, I got persuaded by a friend. My former university mate, and one of the few who I kept in touch, not only through the internet. Okay. Is that me? Oh boy. Kinda hope that's not me, but I think it is. A frosty evening. Bus stop. Waiting. I never liked winter. Though hot summer is not my season either. It's just that I see no reason to point out any particular time of the year. It does not matter what weather is, what weather it is outside, since you spend 24/7 at home. The bus today was running so late that I was about to curse it all and spend the last few hundred rubles for a taxi. The idea of returning home didn't cross my mind for some reason. As usual, millions of thoughts flew through my mind, but there was not a single useful one to seize. Such thought that you could bring to existence, give it a shape, turn it into an idea and put it into practice. Maybe I could start my own business. But where would I get the money from? Or maybe I could go back to working in an office. No, no way. Maybe I should try freelancing? But what skills do I have? Who needs me after all? I suddenly remembered my childhood, or rather, teen years, the time when I was 15 to 17 years old. Why exactly those years? No idea. I guess it's because back then, everything was much more simple. It was easier to make decisions, so complicated now and so simple then. Waking up in the morning, I knew exactly how my day was going to pass, and I was always eagerly looking forward to the weekend. Then I could get some rest and have time for the things I liked: computer, football, going out with friends. And then, at the beginning of next week, I'd take up my studies again. Back then, there was no such worrying questions as why, who needs it, what will change if I do it, or what will not change. A simple life stream, so casual for any normal person and so odd to myself today. Careless childhood age. It was also then that I met my first love. Her appearance and character have vanished from my memory. Only her name remains, like a brief line from a social network profile, along with the feelings which overwhelmed me when I was with her. Affection, tenderness, desire to care for her and to protect her. Sadly, it didn't last long. Today, I can hardly imagine something like that happening. I would probably like to meet a girl, but I don't know how to start a conversation, what on earth to discuss, and how to attract her. Well, I haven't met a suitable girl for a long time, but where could I meet one?
That sounds like one there.
The sound of an engine working brought me back to reality. A bus pulled over. There's something abnormal about it, I thought. Then again, it doesn't matter. Only the 410 runs this route.
What the hell?
Why did the bus look like it was on fire? Am I going to hell? Streetlights passing me. It is as if they're cold light sparks inside of me, trying to light up feelings long dead. Or maybe not sparks, just wakens them. Because those feelings, they have been living in me for a long time, pulling down and waking up again. The driver's radio was playing some very familiar tune, but I wasn't listening to it. I was watching the cars passing by through the fogged up window. Because people are always rushing somewhere, chasing something they need, stuck in their own little worlds. Why would they care about mine? They probably have their own serious problems. Or maybe they have much easier lives. You can't know for sure, since all people are different. Or aren't they? Sometimes someone's actions can easily be predicted, but if you try to look inside his soul, you will only see impenetrable darkness. The bus was approaching downtown, and my thoughts were interrupted by the bright city lights. Hundreds of ad boards, thousands of cars, millions of people. I was watching this light show, and somehow I got terribly sleepy. So I'm gonna have the dream again. My eyes closed just for a moment, and then Cutscene. And then cutscene. Music's not bad. It's a girl! Whoa! I don't know what that word was. It's another girl. Oh, breasts. And another girl. Whoa! That doesn't count as overly inappropriate. That's why I didn't flip. I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of those panty shots. This is vaguely anime, right? So that was the opening montage, I guess. Day 1. So all that was just the prologue. Bright daylight struck my eyes. At first I didn't pay attention, as I wasn't fully awake yet. On their own, my legs carried me towards the door. Is that another person? That must be another person. Damn! Looks like I fell asleep and missed my stop. But there were no doors. Or is that me? I don't know. It never told me my name. I looked around the bus and realized that it wasn't good old worn-out Marco Polo. Instead, the bus was the Icarus model, and new. I was frozen in shock. How? What? Am I dead? Have I been kidnapped? No, I must be dead. I touched my body wildly, slapped myself in the face a few times, struck the back of the front chair with my forehead. It's clear. Either I'm still alive, or, being dead, you can still feel the pain. But how could all this happen? Maybe I was asleep for too long and ended up in the bus depot. And then what? Did they put me into another bus? I rushed out and took a look around. Greenery wherever I looked. Tall grass on the roadside, trees, flowers. Summer. But how? It was winter just a moment ago. I had a terrible headache, as if my head was going to explode. Step by step, I started to recall. A long road running towards the horizon. Forests, plains, fields, lakes, and forests again. I think I was sleeping, but how then can I remember all of it? And then, a gap. Some girl leaning over me. She's softly whispering something to my ear. Then a gap again. And then I woke up here. Who is that strange girl? Or was she just a dream? For some reason, thinking about her made me feel better and calmed me down a little. I felt warmth all over, coming from the inside. Could it be her who brought me here? Then I need to find her. And the best way to look for her is to get away from here. I rushed to the left, then to the right, then stopped hesitating where to go, and finally ran in the direction where the bus probably came from. Physical exercise does refresh one's mind. Thoughts become clearer, and it gets a little easier to evaluate the surrounding reality. Not in my case, however. I was sitting on the roadside, wheezing and trying to ease my sore throat by gulping hot air. In any case, the run did its work. The fear withdrew for a while. Maybe I'm really just dreaming. Though after recalling my self-harm, I immediately rejected the idea. I am neither dreaming nor dead. A narrow road was running through the field and far into the distance. That exact road from my dream. I must be very far away from home. And it is not that it was winter yesterday and it is complete summer now. It is about the environment. Of course, the summer is usually like that, green and hot, but here everything is not just like in real life. Everything looks like it was taken from the paintings of Russian landscape artists of the 19th century. The grass is just too lush. The bushes are not like what bushes should be. They're so thick that you can't see anything through them, like treetops, honestly. And the trees themselves. The forest was quite far away, but the trees looked as if they had closed their even ranks and were now just waiting for an order to advance into the fields and plains. I caught my breath and looked at the bus, which was now barely visible. That was a good run. Fear took over me once again. And those power lines. There must be people here. But what does it mean? In fact, that means nothing at all. Even hell can have power lines. Baking and roasting the sinners is too old-fashioned. I must have reached the point of no return, after which you should either lose your mind completely or finally try to understand what is going on. And while I still have the choice, I should rather pick the second option. I slowly headed back to the bus. Of course, it was frightening. But I'm not likely to find an answer in the fields or the woods, and this wretched bucket of screws is the only kind of link that I have with the real world. I should carefully scout the area.
Sovionok means owlet. I'm not even sure what owlet means.
A brick wall and gates crowned with Sovionic sign, statues of pioneers at the sides, and a road sign nearby showing the bus route number 410. This trip's taking a bit too long today. The trip's taking a bit too long today. I smirked. A person may start acting inadequately in extreme situations. Something like this is probably happening to me now. This place didn't look abandoned at all. No rust on the gates, no damage to the walls. Sovionok. Sovionok. What could have a name like that? Judging by the pioneer statues, it could be a kid's summer camp? And this camp seems to be working. Of course, the simplest explanation, logically, explains nothing at all. The strange girl, the altered bus, summer, the pioneer camp. Thousands of theories went through my mind instantly, from alien abduction to lethargic sleep, from hallucination to time and space shift. None was worse than the other, but there was really no way to pick a single one. Then it all came to me. I can try to make a phone call. I took out my cell phone and dialed the first number from my contact list. But instead of signal strength bars, the screen was showing a thick cross. Alright, there may be no signal in such backward country place. Though I cannot be the only one who got here. Buses don't go on their own. I checked the bus from all sides to make sure that it wasn't a hallucination. Bits of dirt on the bottom, some rust here and there, faded out paint and worn out tires. No, this is definitely a very ordinary Icarus. Yeah, exactly the kind of bus which takes you to places beyond your understanding if you carelessly fall asleep. I gave a nervous chuckle. It came out by itself, sporadically, because it wasn't a right place or time to laugh. But where on earth is the driver? I cautiously sat down on the curbstone beside the bus and started waiting. My patience didn't last long. My anxiety my anxiety seemed to have reached the top, and I started going slightly mad. In such situation, anyone would have probably felt something similar. Aliens and parallel universes were gone from my imagination, leaving only void and darkness. Is this how it will all end? How my life will end? But I wanted to do so much. So many things that I had no time for yet. I was taken over by the idea. That was definitely the end. But why? It's not fair. Surely I'm no worse than anyone. God, why? This game, if you can even call it a game. Tears were burning my eyes unbearably. I curled up and started rolling in the grass. Why? What did I do? Why me? But my outcries were only heard by speechless statues of pioneers and by a bird on a tree, which immediately flapped her wings and took off, having cried something in its own bird language, as if laughing at the idiot who dared to interrupt its after-dinner nap. At last I was breathless with my weeping, and just laid quietly, sobbing from time to time. After a while, I managed to pull myself together. Mine cleared up a bit, as if terror and the fear of death gave me a little break. All in all, if someone wanted to kill me, what is all this for? Doesn't look like an experiment either. If this is some crazy coincidence, then it probably carries no threat. Anyway, for now, it seems there is no danger. The panic was soon gone. Of course, the blood was still pounding in my head, and my hands were still shaking, but at least I could think clearly now. Right now, there's nothing I can really change anyway. So, no matter how much I think or get mad, it would only make things worse. There's no point making guesses until I get some facts straight. In any case, I won't learn anything by lounging about here. This camp, if of course it really is a camp, looked like the only place where people could be, so I decided to walk there and hardly have I reached the gates when a girl came out from behind them, wearing pioneer uniform. She's cute. A good first girl for the game, I guess. My logic didn't let me down this time. Then again, pioneer uniform in the 21st century? And then again, girls here? I froze, unable to make a step. I felt very much like running away. Running as far away as I could from this place. Far from this bus, gates, statue, and far from this bloody bird with its siesta. What the hell? Just run, free like a wind, faster and faster, waving to the planets passing by and winking to the galaxies. Run, becoming a pulsar ray and turning into vestigial radiation. Run to face the unknown. Run no matter where, as long as it is far away from this place. She's coming closer. Meanwhile, the girl came closer and smiled. I could not help but notice her beauty, even though I was trembling with fear. Human instincts work despite of consciousness, and while only 5% of the brain is responsible for cognitive processes, the remaining 95% are always busy sustaining life, and in particular ensuring stable functioning of the hormonal system. I desperately wanted to get less complicated and stop thinking in formal quotes from the encyclopedia, though my thoughts appeared one by one, being stupid, out of place, as if taken from an internal monologue of a hero of some junky, softcover crime fiction book. Good, the game is vaguely self-aware as well. That's nice. A pretty Slavic face, long braids, looking like two armfuls of fresh hay, and blue eyes in which you could drown. It's 'cause they're huge. Hi, you must have just arrived. I shouldn't get into that, actually. I'm gonna read the girls in my normal voice because I have a feeling there's gonna be a lot of them, and I'm not a voice actor. I'm not. It's one thing to put on a different voice for the male main character, but I'm not gonna try and put on a different voice for every female character in the game, or probably even every other male I meet if I meet any other males. So I need a drink. Okay. Hi, you must have just arrived. Uh, choices, choices. I guess I'll reply. Um, yeah. All right then. All right then. Welcome. She smiled broadly. Strange. It looked as if I had just. It looked as if I had just a normal girl in front of me. Bah! I shouldn't have returned here. The woods and fields seem better. But what shall I do next? Try to speak with her as if she was a human? Or run away? Or whatever? The blood was pumping unbearably in my head, tearing it apart from the inside. A little bit more. The poor pioneer girl would be splattered with the hideous contents of. Wait, what? Sorry, I'm gonna have to try that one again. The blood was pumping unbearably in my head, tearing it apart from the inside. A little bit more, and the poor pioneer girl would be splattered with the hideous contents of my skull. What's funny about that? The girl gazed over me. It sent shivers down my spine, and my knees started to tremble. Nothing. Great then. Great? What's great about that? Suddenly I felt like letting it all be. The bus behind me, the winter yesterday and the summer today. Take off the itchy pullover and just believe that it was all real. That it all was real. That it all was meant to be, and that it all, at last, was for the better. And you must probably know. You should go to our camp leader. She'll tell you everything. Look, you go straight ahead to the square, then turn left. Excuse me. And you'll see small cabins. She pointed at the gates, as if I knew what was behind them. Dmitrievna is a patronymic, a derivative of a person's father's name, in this case, Dmitri, put by Russians after the person's first name as a sign of respect or formal address. Well, you can ask someone where Olga Dmitrievna's cabin is. I, um, got it? Of course I didn't. And I got to go. The girl waved her hand at me and disappeared behind the gates. It seemed as if for her I was something ordinary. And all this show with the bus and the travels in waking or sleeping were troubling only me, while here everything was just like it was supposed to be. Camp leader, pioneer uniform. Are they making a historical reconstruction here? I hope I wouldn't find Lenin standing on top of an armored car at this square. But even that would not surprise me right now. After standing alone for a while, I headed into the camp. Mere 50 meters ahead, a small one-story house has popped up on the left side. The billboard near the door said clubs. I was about to come closer when the door suddenly opened and a short girl wearing pioneer uniform came out. Her pretty face gave me an impression of bearing a torment for the fate of the whole mankind with a truly universal sorrow. She does seem very contemplative, I guess. Whoa. As soon as she saw me, the girl froze, as if frightened. I froze too, considering what was the best to do. To approach first, or wait until she shows some initiative, or maybe run away after all. Although this last option was constantly suggested only by my self-preservation instinct. At least that's what I'd like to believe. What are these options? I haven't noticed those before. I'm kind of scared to click on them. Not the worst human instinct, but one far from being the most logical. If this instinct played poker against deductive abilities, the result would be predetermined. And those deductive abilities, or at least their semblance, were hinting me that there was no need to be afraid of this girl. So this game is very Russian, in case you haven't noticed yet. It's very Russian. Suddenly, somebody jumped out of nearby bushes. A girl wearing a bright red t-shirt with USSR written on it. Actually, CCCP, but I guess that is the Cyrillic represent. Is it Cyrillic? I apologize to anyone who knows these things or lives these things. God, the singing. Yeah, USSR, obviously the English translation of CCCP or what have you, which I actually never knew before right now, to be honest. I've always kind of wondered why, like, the like Soviet hockey team or what have you had CCCP on their jerseys. Shows what I know. Such exact reproduction of the age. She looked quite short from the distance and was probably younger than both pioneer girls at the gates and this girl at the door of the clubs. At last I decided to come closer, but the USSR, as I called her in my mind, jumped to the first girl and started telling something while sawing the air. The other girl, in turn, seemed confused, looked down and made no reply. I would have probably continued to observe their amusing dialogue, but the USSR suddenly pulled something out of her pocket and started shaking it in front of the first girl's face. That right there is a very anime picture, isn't it? This something turned out to be a grasshopper. Eee! Squealed the first girl. She must be not too keen of insects, and she instantly rushed towards where Lenin presumably made his speech about the accomplished workers and peasants' revolution. What? That's to say, towards the square, right. And the USSR glanced at me and grinned playfully and dashed after her. Not a bad start of the day. I have absolutely no clue where I am. Besides that, there are some kids here, role-playing pioneers, and as far as I can tell, this place is located thousands of kilometers away from my home. It might even be a different reality. And this was indeed a reality. I mean, everything around me seemed so real, if a little embellished, that I was starting to fall into thinking that, in fact, my previous life could have been just a dream. And what should I do now? I was picking the cracks in the tiles which paved the pathway, and stared aimlessly at the club's building. Just a few more seconds before I have to come up with some decision. I almost ranged into a horrible, stereotypical Russian accent there, and I want to try and avoid that. Despite how Russian this game clearly is, I don't want to go there. That's when I recalled myself rolling on the grass, weeping. I cringed in disgust. Perhaps it's another instinct. When all energy for whimpering and self-pitying is used up, the body either goes into hibernation or mobilizes its reserves. Mine seemed to have chosen the second option, because out of the blue, I got this determination to figure out what was going on. And in order to do that, I had to act like a man, like a human, to maintain the dignity of a representative of my own world. I followed the path, to the left and to the right of which stood small cabins, apparently homes for the local pioneers. Actually, they looked quite cozy from the outside. Even though I was born in the Soviet Union, I have never been part of its children organizations, neither the pioneers nor even the younger October children. I imagined the daily life of a typical pioneer camp a bit differently. Huge barracks with long rows of metal bunks, wake-up call at 6 o'clock played by a siren, 1 minute to make your bed, then joining formation at the drill square. Or wait! Could I be confusing it with something else? I was suddenly hit on the back. I staggered but remained on my feet, turned and prepared to become an hero on while fighting for my life. Again, English, not the writer's first language. Like you. But all I found was another girl standing before me. I know. That was such a male reaction. The girl showing the most skin to appear in the game, and I like you. I'm a pig. I'm sorry. My mouth hung open in surprise. Pick your jaw up off Pick your jaw up off the floor. I closed my mouth. Same pioneer uniform, but it looked, let's say, provocative, the way she was wearing it. Like all the girls I had met here before, this one was rather cute, but her overly arrogant expression killed any desire to get her. Blah, blah. But her overly arrogant expression killed any desire to get to know her better. Maybe in you. So, you're new here? Fine, see ya. She dashed a threatening glance at me and walked past. I waited for the pioneer girl to turn at the corner. Who knows what else she might have been up to. The most interesting thing was that even this hostile girl seemed completely normal to me. She did not give the feeling of some deadly danger, except maybe the danger of getting punched in the nose. It's the villain in glasses! That is a reference for anime people and readers of my blog. At last, I managed to make it to the square. There was no Lenin or an armored car, although one could really expect something like that after all that had happened. Instead, however, a monument to a certain comrade towered in the middle of the square. The letters on the pedestal read, Genda. Must be some big figure of the party. There were some small benches at the sides. It's quite cozy here. Where did that girl tell me to go? To the left or to the right? To the left, to the right, to the left, to the right? And why am I going there anyway? Ah, right. I've decided to pretend to be normal. So, to the right. Through a small grove, I walked to a pier. I must have taken a wrong turn. Oh, wrong way. I turned towards the voice. Wow, she got into a bathing suit really quickly. That first girl stood before me. I did tell you to turn left from the square. And where have you gone? She changed from her pioneer uniform into a bikini. Oh, I still haven't introduced myself. My name is Slavia. Yes, my name is Slavia. And there it is again. I'm sorry. It's hard not to. Actually, the full name. Actually, the full name's Slaviana, but everyone calls me Slavia. Okay. So can you. That's very nice of you, Slavia. You've only just met me, and you're already letting me call you by your shortened name. That's nice. If this were really an anime, I wouldn't even be able to call you by your first name yet. um, yeah. I still felt a bit confused, so I could not come up with more meaningful answers. And what's your name? It felt like she could see right through me. Um, I. Semyon. Nice to meet you, Semyon. Alright, I'm almost done here. Could you wait here a minute? I'm going to change and we'll go to Olga Dmitrievna's together, agreed? Blah. Tripped over that one a little bit. It's the name. It was the name. Agreed. She ran off after these words, and I sat on the pier and let my feet hang into the water. I was wearing heavy winter boots, but in such weather, there was nothing wrong in getting my feet wet. Maybe not your feet, but your boots. Furthermore, it let me cool myself a little. Looking at the river, I was brainstorming and processing everything that has happened. If this is some kind of conspiracy, it is a weird one, even too friendly at times. No, it really looks like a random event. Some entirely incomprehensible random event. Shall we go? Back in her uniform. How boring. Slavia was standing beside me, dressed in pioneer uniform again. Let's go. I've been here for a very short time, but of all the people I've met, she looks the least suspicious. Can't argue with that assessment. However, this fact is already suspicious by itself. We walked to the square. The USSR girl and the girl who hit me on the back were there, chasing each other. Is it some kind of game they're playing? Why does she look... Oh, she's mad at them, not me. Oh, Yana, enough running. I'll tell everything to Olga Dmitrievna. Aye, aye, Captain. I decided not to question Slavia for a while about what was going on and about the local residents. Better first reach this mysterious Olga Dmitrievna. Sounds like she's the boss here. We were walking past the rows of almost identical cabins, some of which looked like fat beer barrels, while others looked more like household sheds. Finally, Slavia stopped in front of a smallish one-story cabin. It looked like an artist's painting. The fading paint, chipping here and there with age, was sparkling in the sun. The window shutters, slightly ajar, were swaying in the wind almost unnoticeably, and huge lilac bushes were growing on the sides. It seemed as if this ramshackle hut was drowning in the velvet purple storm, and the lilacs, like some elemental force, were inexorably destroying the troop leader's house. What are you standing for? Let's go. Slavia took me out of my daydreams. And stop teasing Lena already. Okie dokie. Reina? Sounds like someone's there and sounds like there's someone inside. Indeed, a moment later the door swung open, and Ulyana ran out and dashed past with the same mischievous grin. pigtailed girl went out next. Don't get upset about her, Lena. So her name is Lena. Gotta be thankful it's not Rena, at least. Why? But I don't. She didn't finish the phrase, blushed, and quickly headed towards the square. For some reason, I felt like turning around and following her with my eyes. But Slavia said, for some reason, I felt like turning around and following her with my eyes. Because you're a dude, and she's cute. It's kind of a natural instinct. I'll admit that. It just is. Come. Who is this? This right here. Who is this person? And why is there a poster of him on the wall? And is that man wearing a bag on his head? What is going on? We entered the cabin. Inside, it looked something similar to what I was imagining. 2 beds, a table, a couple of chairs, a simple carpet on the floor, a wardrobe. Nothing special, but at the same time, it felt homelike and cozy. Although this room was almost in the same state of disorder as my own flat. A girl standing near the window appeared to be about 25 years old. That's 25 for anime, apparently. The nature obviously gifted her with a pretty face and a good body. At least one thing can keep you happy in this pandemonium. The locals are beautiful. You're finally here! Excellent! My name is Olga Dmitrievna. I'm the camp leader. Nice to meet you. I'm Semyon. I decided to talk as if I weren't surprised by anything that was going on. She came closer. We've been waiting for you since the early morning. You've been waiting? For me? Yes, of course. And when does the bus come? And why do you need it? Yeah, right. Why would I need it? Guess I shouldn't ask direct questions. The people here may react to them quite unlike what I'd prefer. And I doubt I'd get any answers. No reason, just curious. By the way, where are we exactly? Our mailing address, I mean. I wanted to send a letter to my parents and tell them I got here all fine. For some reason, I had the desperate idea that if I played along, I would find something out. Oh, but your parents gave a call just half an hour ago. Sent their regards to you. Now, that's a surprise. So, can I call them? Because I forgot to tell them something before I left. No. Just flat out, no. She gave me a sweet, natural smile. Why not? We don't have a phone here, but... Wait, what? You just said that they called. So... What? Then how could my parents make the call here? I've just come back from the district's central town. It's there that I talked with them. And, now that's how it is. And can I somehow get to the town? No. She kept the same smile. Why not? Because the next bus only comes in a week. One bus a week. Okay. I I decided not to inquire how the troop leader managed to get there and back. I would get no answer anyway. All this time, Slavy was standing next to me and seemed to find nothing odd in our conversation. "Oh, we need to find a uniform for you." I've got absolutely no desire to put on pioneer shorts or to wear the ridiculous red neckerchief. However, wearing winter clothes in summer is not a great idea either. Right, thank you. I wonder if I'm the only one here who finds it strange that someone's wearing a coat and winter boots in such heat. Righty right, I'll be off then, and you can get yourself acquainted with the camp. Don't forget to come to dinner in the evening. Having said that, she walked out of the cabin. No, walked is not the right word. She rushed out. I was now alone with Slavia. Got my finger ready, just in case. I must go too. Got things to do. No, guess no worries. Have a walk. Look around the camp a bit. See you in the evening. If there was no catch or menace to that, then this reality, in the person of Slavia, becomes more and more something to be fond of. For the first time today, I realized that it was awfully hot here. Although, obviously, my wither clothes were to blame for that. I believe that was supposed to be winter. I took off my coat and dropped it onto the bed. My pullover went after. I was now wearing only the shirt. That's much better. All I could do now was follow the advice and go look around the camp. I'll try to find something out in the meanwhile. Passing the local residential district, I saw a pioneer guy coming my way. Okay, I gotta see if I can... Cool, yeah, save the game. Save the game. Okay, because, yes, it's like 7 a.m. I need to stop. I've been streaming for like 5 hours now. Yeah, like 5 hours. So nothing untoward happened yet, but we're still very early in the game, so it's always possible. I may stream this some more at some point. We'll see. It's something different from everything else I've been playing anyway, so there's that. Um, this portion of the stream, as well as the previous portion where I played Dragon Age 2, will be up on my YouTube channel sometime within the next 24 hours. Plenty of videos there of my previous streams. I think there's something like 40 now. You can also find me on Twitter and WordPress. Links to everything is below the Twitch embed, as well as on the right side of the Twitch profile page, my Twitch profile page rather, and in the descriptions of all of my YouTube videos and in my YouTube banner. Next stream will be tonight, 10 p.m. Pacific, 2 a.m. Atlantic tomorrow morning. I will be playing Assassin's Creed Unity, at least in part, or at least for part of the stream. Might play some more of this after, might play something else. May just stick with Assassin's Creed. We will have to wait and see, because I don't know yet. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.